look ahead, read ahead, so to speak. But let's go ahead and get after it. I believe, Anna, you're first on the deck, right, to do some press and information updates. So I will let you take over.
Perfect, thanks, Chris. So I'll be presenting with Chiara, who's got the slide deck. So we'll load that up and get started.
Yes, if you could allow me to share my screen, that would be great.
Yeah, 1 second.
The great Google Meet screen share.
Hopefully it works.
You have that.
Can you guys see?
Looks like it.
Amazing.
There we go. Screen shares worked. Everyone's days are nothing but rainbows and puppies for everyone from here on out.
I knew it was the right decision to say, Chiara, share your screen, because I'd mess it up. So already with. So we're just going to give you a quick update about a recent event that we hosted with partners in Mexico City. I think it was, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago? I'm losing track of time. And just to tell you a little bit about our key messaging and what our plans are going next. So you may have seen through our various communication channels, we've been talking about building the Internet of Opportunity, and that's the summit theme for this year as well. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of an insight in terms of some of the thinking behind that. So really at a kind of like a high level, what we're talking about is that the internet connected people, and then it connected devices, and now we are connecting financial systems, and that is building the Internet of Opportunity, creating opportunities for people, businesses and economies to grow. And why do we have kind of unique positioning in that conversation, and why do we think that's an important message? Because of the Interledger technology stack being built on the same principles that power the internet around openness, interoperability and universality, enabling kind of banks, money systems, finance platforms and networks to work together regardless of their underlying technology or currency. So for us, it was really an opportunity to kind of launch that message, and then with the view that we'll be building on that through the year, culminating at the summit. And so just reiterating the point there, what we want to start doing is really going back to the origin story of kind of where Interledger came from, and start enabling people to see that correlation between the Interledger technology stack and the internet technology. And so that's our key message that we're kind of putting out. And so Chiara is going to talk us through how the actual event went, but I'm just going to give you kind of our key objectives and what we wanted to achieve. So it's really about creating awareness of Interledger to a wider audience, and launching the Internet of Opportunity language, to engage and inspire new people about the potential of open, interoperable financial infrastructure, and to help drive registrations for local participation at the Interledger Summit in November. So for people that were at Cape Town last year, you'll remember that we kind of started to shift and work earlier in the year in terms of activating our local partner networks and really intentionally trying to bring more of a local representation in. And obviously working in Mexico, we have like the amazing PCH and the MOOCs team, but we're really wanting to start earlier to kind of bring people in around that. And so the first point at the summit is not when they hear about Interledger, that we've already kind of started to have conversations, and hopefully that will feed into then the potential collaborations and inspiration that will happen at the summit as well. So Chiara is going to give you an overview of the key elements of the event, and then I'll recap on what we'll be doing next.
Thanks, Anna. So just of our key accomplishments, at the bottom, you'll see a list of just some of the media that attended the event. And from this event, we secured 2 exclusive interviews, and we had 15 press pieces come out. So it really was a successful kind of activation into the community of who's Interledger, what we're doing here in Mexico. We also worked pretty hard to get some new people into the ecosystem and in the room to have some conversations. So we worked with a lot of, I see lots of hands, so thanks guys. We worked with a lot of local partners, and I know everybody kind of put their brainstorming caps on how we can get people into the room, and it was really successful again with 80 non-ILF attendees. And these are brand new people in the ecosystem, so really important for our work in Mexico. This also led to 65 registrations for the summit, and we haven't even gone fully into marketing yet, so just a nice glimpse of what is to come. So what did we do at this event? I will start and kind of walk you through what happened. First was we had a wonderful press conference. It was a private press conference with whatever media that showed up. And it was a great opportunity to have this open conversation with Brianna, Isabel, Alex, Pedro, and Roberto, all the work that we're doing in Mexico. So media was really able to ask some good questions and how it relates to rural communities and just the landscape in Mexico. So great event that also led into a panel that we put together talking about the Internet of Opportunity and again, going into the landscape of Mexico and remittances. So we also had a little teaser of a documentary that we are doing called People's Code. And this one features the work in the rural communities with People's Clearinghouse and Amux that we will be showing at the summit. So make sure you're there to watch it. Just my little tagline to sign up to the summit. And we will also be showing at the summit some artwork by Ernesto Muniz that we kind of previewed at this event. And so what he did was put a really cool artwork piece together of what the Internet of Opportunity means. So again, that will be at the summit. And of course, we ended our night with networking, as we always do. And you can see the room is pretty packed there. Conversations were flowing. And again, just a good activation into the community. So we want to finish off with just saying thank you to our partners. We have Jordi on the left, who is from Finno Summit, Finno Vista. And we have Isabel in the middle from Amux, and we have Dr. Edgar Horatio Escoves from Finabien, who were our panelists at the event. So yeah, we have some pictures that we can share with everyone, but just saying that what's coming through the year will be really great, and we're excited to continue our work.
Amazing.
Okay. Back
Thank
to you.
you. So yeah, so some of the kind of key things, a bit of a sneak peek at what's coming. So we'll be continuing with the partnership development, and Brianna will be in Mexico City in July, and she'll be hosting a number of kind of dinners and lunches in partnership with Open FinTech Mexico. So again, just working with kind of new partner networks, and a lot of the introductions have come through kind of PCH and MOOCs and really spreading out to kind of new people. So we're appreciative of that. We're going to be doing the final edit of the People's Code, which is going to be amazing. It's going to be a really beautiful piece, so I'm excited for everybody to see that. And we'll be doing a dedicated PR launch for that. And then in September, we get really busy. So we'll be having the community premiere of the People's Code. So it will be shown in the location that it was shot, and it will be bringing together the people that are featured in the film. So it's really about creating a kind of piece of work that is owned by the community, that is about enabling people to kind of share their perspectives, before then it's shown to wider audiences at the summit. And we'll be running a series of student hackathons. We'll be launching a piece of research that we're working on with Finno Summit at their event, which is the 24th and 25th of September. And we'll also be launching some new research in conjunction with PCH around the virtuous cycle of remittances. So look forward to keeping you all updated as we go through the year. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. I will stop sharing.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Some good stuff. And I might ask really quick, what was your overall, or what is it doesn't have to be you, goal with the documentary? Like, what's the life for the documentary once it exists?
good question.
Or the film, I guess.
Yeah, so it's really what we wanted to do, and I think in terms of we hear a lot about the infrastructure that's supporting the connection for people with kind of microbanks. And for some of us, I know some of us were lucky enough to go out and visit the community recently. And for a lot of people, we wanted to kind of flip that a little bit and enable people to speak to their own experience and to be able to kind of show both the power of the kind of technology, but also the context at the same time, and to be able to show the reality of what the work that PCH has been doing over a long period of time, and what that means to people in communities, but also really to kind of highlight the richness of kind of culture, the kind of self-determination, the skills, the kind of story really of that. So because I think often what we can do is we can feel a step removed, and when we're observing other people's work or their lives, and it's very much looking in. And what we wanted to do was create a piece of work where it was actually about people sharing their own voices and inviting people to listen. So it's really about shifting the dynamic. We've intentionally called it Volume 1 because where we're looking at kind of Mexico this year, what we also want to do is look at potentially kind of other areas. So maybe looking at UPI in India and being able to kind of share the different journeys kind of countries are on in terms of the adoption of kind of digital public infrastructure and interoperability around financial systems. And the narrative that you'll see through it is very much about people sharing their kind of like heritage, cultures, traditions, and then weaving in of the technology as well. And we would like it to go on kind of festival circuits. We'd like to win lots of awards. We'd like to all of the things. So it's very exciting. And then it's open. It's all volumes. So we'll keep tuned. But we've got big plans.
Nice. Any other community questions or inquiries or statements about that chunk of content for Anna or Kiara? Please open your mic or chat it. That opportunity is going, and gone. Okay, so we will. Marion, jump in. You got to right at the wire there.
Okay, I think it's amazing because it's the opportunity to sell it's not only sharing the technology, it's also creating a marketing opportunity for sharing like the stories behind, and it's a good opportunity to create like all the narrative that is appealing to people. So, and I think one great opportunity is perhaps presenting in a big festival. South by Southwest is a good, I will share here. I think it would be a good call to sharing that amazing piece, and I love the name. That will be my feedback.
Amazing. That sounds brilliant. I agree. Thank you.
And that is a call out. If anyone is aware of, knows about, participates in, may not be the exact right crowd, but some overlap of film festivals, big, small, regional, focused on documentaries, whatever, send them our way. All right. Thank you. Good stuff there. I think next, this is a bit of just a written update, but I love that on our community call agenda, we are starting to list a bunch of staff and community blogs that have been published since the last one. So you can see in the agenda, there's a whole link, a real bunch of good content in there from community, from staff. So there's just a bit of a catalog of recent blog posts to get a sense of work that's going on in the community. We are all, by the way, I'll do a shout out. We are always looking for guest bloggers on the community forum, on the website, both, event share outs, thoughts, this is staff, community, et cetera, et cetera. If you've got one you'd like to pitch, if you have one you drafted, I think reach out to Kiara probably is a good point person. But we are, and that goes for anybody on this call. I don't care if you're a staff member, non-staff member. If you've got good ideas for blogs, for updates, we are kind of getting into a place where we're publishing pretty frequently because we want all kinds of versions of our stories out there. So if you'd like to see your blog post on that list in a future community call, then reach out to Kiara and pitch your idea, share your draft, all of the above. All right. And then Julaire, I saw you out there in the ether. So if you want to open up your mic and camera real quick and just talk about the next opening of the Digital Financial Services Grant.
Thank you, Chris. Hi, everyone. Okay, so I wanted to use this opportunity just to inform the community that we will be launching our second call for proposal for the Digital Financial Services Grant on July 1st. So for those who are new to the ecosystem, our Digital Financial Services Grant is where we fund innovative ideas that seeks to advance financial access and interoperability using the Interledger technologies. So I've included the link to the announcement, but what we wanted to do was to announce that we'll be having 2 pre-grant or pre-launch Q&As where persons can come and ask questions related to their project ideas regarding the grant, the guidelines, anything. We also have a resource folder that we've listed videos, there's documents that persons can read ahead of the session so that they can come with their questions. And lastly, I know that for some persons, they may not want to ask certain questions in a public setting. We do have our grant inquiry form where you can ask a question. If we believe it can be a response can be done via email, we'll do so. But if necessary, we'll also send a link to have like a quick 15 minutes or 30 minutes call to provide more detail based on the question. So that's it.
Awesome. There we go. And Vanille is live DJing links into the chat, so you can find them in the chat or in the persistent doc. So thank you, Vanille, and thank you, Julaire. One thing I will say, because there may be folks on the call, we are about wrapping up the first call with our decisions. You may have even gotten a notice. You are eligible to reapply. So, and you know, I know in our communication we've given you paths to get feedback, et cetera, which for those who have asked for it, we're working on that. So you do have an opportunity to take that feedback, tweak, reapply. So you're not exempt if you applied and were not successful in round 1. Round 2 is there for you to also respond to and tweak and improve and reapply. Awesome. I think this is mostly just a textual shout out, but I do want to say that the summit tickets are open. The link is in the doc, and I'm sure Vanille will DJ it into the chat. Go ahead and grab a ticket. If you know you're coming, grab a ticket. That goes for staff too, and this is essential for headcount. This year, actually, we've got a little bit of a dance with a max people that we're going to be allowed into the summit, you know, from a head count type of way. And so claiming your ticket early is a great way to help us plan and understand what our numbers will be. So I'd say go ahead and grab a ticket. I'd say if you are 60% sure or above that you're coming, grab a ticket. You can always cancel it or give us a note that says you're not going to be able to come, and we probably will be doing some like pruning and confirming as we get closer. But this is the time to go ahead and grab a ticket if you, like I said, if you're 60% north of 60% that you're coming, go ahead and grab a ticket now. If you're not going to come, we can fix that later. So there's a shout out for that. You can also see we got a bunch of events that are coming up. I'll kind of, we are, we're in a lot of places. One thing I'll call 2 things out that are coming up in this month. One, there'll be a contingent of ILFers and grantees at the Internet Governance Forum coming up in Oslo, Norway. This is a UN entity that really collects people who are invested in the governance and of the internet and how it responds to people and needs and is governed and so on and so forth. So there's Brianna's going, myself, Aiden. We have some grantees, some ambassadors that are joining us as well. So we will be reporting back on that probably in the future. And I think there are also some online aspects. So if that's something that you're interested in, check that out. And then coming up also in June, we have our UCT, which is one of our next gen education partners, is running their big UCT FinHub and ILF Hackathon and Bootcamp coming up in June. I know there's a bunch of folks from the tech team that will be joining to judge, help, mentor, organize, clean up pizza, et cetera, et cetera. So those are two big events, but there are a whole slew of events you can see there. Another one, we would love to see more community events that you're bragging about, talking about that you're there. So get them to Vanille and I. We will highlight those. And back to the call out on blogs, we love event recap blog posts. So, you know, what you saw, what you experienced as another shout out for that. But we'd like to be collecting events that you all in the community are at that are beyond just staff. So we would love to hear what you're doing. And for that, Vanille here can be your main contact. Rafiki updates, you can see the link to the June updates. There's some work week coming up, or that there was a work week. There's always work weeks, but you can see the June update there as a link. And we should hopefully get some deeper dive looks at the updates on Rafiki in coming community calls, but you can get the text update there. Anybody have anything they want to add or call out or question about anything that we kind of sped through there with both verbal and text updates before I transition to the deep dive? Going once.
Maybe
going
the only
twice.
it would
Roberto?
be great to see the trailer, because most people in this call were not able to be there. But I thought it could not be recorded. Maybe at the end, if we can leave a space of 2 minutes and show it to everyone, removing the recording. Would that be?
I don't think we're ready for that quite yet, but we will be sharing a trailer soon.
All right.
All right. Oh, actually, Roberto, you are the deep dive, or you and your team, to share what actually got accomplished at the People's Clearinghouse ILF work week a couple weeks ago, and to see and share some of the updates, demos, and excitement from the teams working together. So take it away.
All right. Hello, everyone. Thanks, Chris. I'm gonna share screen, right? Give me a second, and we can start.
Our second high wire act of the call. Will we get a second screen shared?
I hope we will. Is it working? Yeah.
All right, look.
Wait, let me ask you one thing. If I do like this, so if I share like this, is it still working for everyone?
Yeah, we can see it. It looks beautiful.
Wow. Okay, great. So, hi, everyone. And my name is Roberto. I work at People's Clearinghouse, and we're working, as it says in the subtitle, towards a sustainable clearinghouse scheme for the social financial sector of Mexico, right? I'm going to explain very quickly what this means, and then I will pass it to the team. Wow, that was a nice effect. Okay, so the problem in one word, I've said it in several presentations, but it's always important to come back to the real problem, right? That we have a series of entities. These are their legal names. Basically, they're just financial entities, small financial entities around Mexico, mostly in rural areas, but not only, who are isolated. They can only do cash remittances. They don't have access to digital financial inclusion because their clients cannot benefit from any digital financial solution. So what we're trying to do, basically, as you can see now, it becomes green because they are connected to the financial network. Here we have the example of the Bank of Mexico, but in fact, what this means is they are connected to everything, to the national network, to international networks, to any other financial service that can be provided digitally by a third party, right? So all this, thanks to one connection, the idea is having a clearinghouse can connect them all, and through it, they can be connected to the rest of the world. So they can have access to account remittances, which can have a massive impact in those regions for reasons that have been longly explained at other forums. So What is the product for that, right? We're having a payment switch with a generic banking app that is integrated with Pay and that is able to do remittances in a very efficient, almost instantaneous way, right? Using ILF technology, in fact. And this is the platform that we are launching soon to interconnect these entities and allow them to have these connections. Use cases, if we want to think of it in terms of use cases, we can say we will have remittances disbursement into accounts, P2P transfers, right? So anybody who has a phone and it has an account at any of these banks connected to the Clearinghouse will be able to send money, receive money, have notifications, receive remittances, etc., from the comfort of their phone, right? And the PASP extension, which is nothing more than allowing third-party payment services to interconnect with the switch and benefit all participants. We will go into this in more detail in a moment. So this, in a summary, quick summary, this would be it, right? We're connecting participants, different entities, saving co-ops, community banks, but we're also interconnecting different services, like agents, remittances, the central bank, third-party service providers, right? With to connect services and participants. Okay, so what we'll cover today are these 4 things. So get ready. The team is going to start in a moment. Okay, AML, PASP, front-end, and infrastructure. So please, first team, it's all yours.
So hello everyone. My name is Roberto Carlos. So yes, we needed an AML solution to our ecosystem. So that's what me and my team have been working on. We can go to the next slide, please. So we have a problem, and is that we need AML in our ecosystem. How are we doing the anti-money laundering? Thank you, Jeremiah, for the advice. So we're doing anti-money laundering policies. We need to check that everything's fine with the transfer that are going through the People's Clearinghouse. So the problem is that the AML solutions that are on the market are closed source and are expensive. We also have a time performance requirement, and the AML regulation in Mexico is quite generic. So the requirement in our case gets shrink. We need to do something specific for the PCH problem. That's the main reason why we are doing an AML solution for ourselves. If our cases were more generic, we will just use an already implemented AML solution, but this isn't the case, so that's the reason why we are doing our AML system ourselves. Can we go to the next slides, please? So yes, Max already recommended us to do something, and I would love to get paid for doing that. And for those that don't catch the joke, can we go to the next slide, please? It's basically, can we go? Yeah, flipping coins. So we did something cooler that I'm just about to show you. Can we go to the next slide, please? It's not that what we did. So basically, I am already telling you. Oh, sorry. Can we go to the next? We did a product that can. Basically, we have two main interests in our AML solution, that it's calculating the risks for each of the transfers. And this needs to be extremely fast. We need to tell all of the parts what's the risk associated to a transfer. And the Mexican regulation asks us to put that on thresholds of high, really high, low risk, and this is quite open-ended. So we already have an implementation for that. We have an asynchronous processes to detect unusual transfers and unusual transactional profiles. And yes, so that's it. You're basically seeing the admin UI for some of the stuff. We have also the most important thing on all of the AML implementations, I think worldwide, is to detect block lists. So that's basically it. Can we go to the next slide, please?
Okay.
Yes, so we are working on this diagram. We have the CMP backend talking to the AML implementation, and this is separated in different asynchronous services that update the historical profiles for each of the users that we have on the PCH ecosystem. We have the alerting system that happens after all of the transfers. And then at the end, we are storing all of that information in the PCH databases so that we can have track of all of the things that happen in the PCH. Can we go to the next slides, please? So one of the most important things also in the AML solution that we have is that it's fully configurable by the compliance officers on the PCH. And we have still things to do. We have to improve the messages flow in the whole system. We need to improve the handle of the alerts, and we also need to evaluate the future improvements that we need to do to go to production, to go to the real life, but we're almost there. So I think that's it about the AML.
Great. Just one quick message. When you see CNP here, it refers to cross-network provider. That's basically a service that we have implemented in PCH so that we can do remittances, right, using Rafiki. And it's in the context of cross-border transfers that the AML service that Roberto Carlos is describing is extremely important. Okay. Next point, PISP. Please, PISP team.
Hello, good morning. My name is Hassam. I'm going to introduce you the PISP service that my team has been working on. Next, please. We're going to start with some of the problems that we have. The microbanks don't have enough resources or technology for build their own application. Since the microbanks don't have an app, a process as simple as checking a balance or make a transfer can take like 3 hours, make it difficult for people to manage their money. Next, please. There are the problems that we are looking to solve. So how we solve these problems? We have two main products. The first one is the PISP service, which is a service that allows us to make a transfer, check balance on behalf of an user through an external channel. The other product, it's a mobile application, which is the channel we will use to make a transfer, check balance, manage the account, and receive notification. This is our application. We can see a screenshot of the application when we are going to try to make a transfer. This application will have a very good impact in the way of the microbanks clients because they can manage their money in an easy way. And also this application is already in the App Store, in TestFly, and also in Play Store. So next, please. Now I will show you a general diagram of our process. As you can see, we have three important parts: the microbanks, the switch, and the PISP. The important part of this diagram is how we connect our channels, in this case application, with our switch through the PISP service, which is a participant of the switch. In the communication is secure, and also the gRPC connection that you are seeing here, it's exactly the same that the banks will have to implement for the rest of the use cases. They don't have to a new integration. It's just an extended integration that the banks already have. And this communication also with the microbanks is through the switch, and the onboarding we made through the switch admin. So everything in this process is very secure. We have certificates and all the stuff that we need for the security. Next, please. And finally, the work in progress. For the moment, we are working in the use of boarding that we allow to the user to stop using the PISP service at any time. And also we are working in improving the user experience. It is important that the application can be easy to use for all the users that we are going to have. And also we are working in the PCH mobile bank application. We are like making a generic application that all the banks can use for their transaction and all these steps. And yes, that is the part of the PISP.
Muy bien, Hassan. Good. Front end, please.
Yes. Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Adriana. And yes, on the other hand, we were working on the front end of the project. In this phase, we made a major update to standardize the technology and improve how the front end communicates with multiple backends services that we have, like AML, FIS, and CNP service. So what are the problems we had? The next slide, please. Well, the project uses different frameworks across its system. This caused a technological disorder and required highly specialized development profiles because we had 3 systems with different technologies. We had the admin UI, the switch admin UI, and the mobile app, all the systems in different technologies. So the lack of unification impacted efficiency and maintainability. So what is the product that solves this problem? Yes, the technology stack was standardized across all systems. Centralized layer, we made a backend for front end, and it was created to integrate all services. This allows the front end to access all services and an organized and maintainability way. And the next slide is a diagram. Yes, this is a diagram that represents the front end and the front end infrastructure. This is the front end, which communicates through the intermediary with the different services that we have. So now we use the WebSocket to real-time notifications, and we have a backend for the front end, and this communicates with each service that we have. So now, what are we working on now? Oh, well, the next slide is a screenshot of the admin UI. This is a section of the admin UI. This is how it looks like. And what are we working on now? The next slide. Yes, we are integrating WebSockets for the real-time notifications or real-time communication between the front end and to the back end. The front end receives automatic alerts when critical events occur, like AML alerts or something like that. And in addition, we are performing a code refactor to improve quality and scalability for the admin UI. And well, all right, this is a summary of the work that has been done, and we will continue working to have a better front end.
Thank you, Adriana. Infrastructure team, please.
Yes, hello everyone. My name is Mario Ayala. So I will present you what we, the DevOps guys, we working on it. The next one, please. So what's at stake for the infrastructure side? So we can have, you all see that we have all the services, but where those all our ecosystem will live, we need a place when we have to have things to do for the development side. Then we will have to have a stable a place where we have the stable version of our ecosystem, and as soon we are approaching to launch to production, we need a place when we can make that that production side to see what are the things that we have at stake. And so as soon we are approaching to launch our product to the market, we have this premise that if I have a product of the market, then how do I assure to my clients the security and reliability for the product I'm launching? How can I guarantee to my clients that the product that we are launching is secure and they can be able to rest very well like a baby, that their information and the identity will be not leaked, right? And another problem that we have is that the developers, always the developers, the developers want their package right away. In a sense that if I'm making a service of the PCH, a new service, I want that service to be built right away. And if I find that service built, then I want that service already in the development environment, right? So how can I guarantee that mechanism to the developers so they can stop bothering us? So the products and the solution that we have is that we are already using the GCP cloud. We make an environments cluster for the flow that we're using is that the development environment that they can break and they can do whatever the developers want to test for the new things. The test environment, we will have the things that we will test, and we have a stable version of it. And the pre-production environment, that as soon we are, like I said before, as soon as we are approaching to the production site, we need to mimic that and see what it still has left to make that step from the pre-production to the production to our application, right? And we have also the Kubernetes operator that it's the responsible that will be able to handle all our resources of the PCH services, like the ML, like the CMP, to be on the cluster right away. Also, we already designed CI/CD pipelines using GCP integration, so we can complete that process with the Kubernetes operator, so the developers can have their packages building already in a place where they can find it, and the PCH, specifically the PCH services can be found when they're being built in the cluster. And we have the monitoring and alerting, so we can check how our application are behaving when we are like I said before, we are approximating for a mimic of the production for our product. So we have to see how our services are behaving when we are having a lot of requests for our sites. So next one, please.
Just somebody asked, so GKE refers to Google Kubernetes Engine, right?
Yes, GKE is Google Kubernetes Engine.
CI/CD is a way of working in continuous integration, continuous development, right? For development
yes.
work. And
Yes.
GCP is Google Cloud Provider. Sorry for those who are not familiar with those terms.
Yes, sorry. So this is the whole diagram that we have for the infrastructure side. So everything begins in the origin when a developer push to the GitHub repository. So every time that they push something in the main branch, so they will be triggered a workflow. We're using GitHub workflows that we will be able to push and build the new version of the service that we have. So we push that image to the GCP cloud, and we use a few of the services so we can have a place when we store all our packages that we are publishing. And we have a service called put subscription that will be the responsible to detect the changes that they have in the artifact repository. Like, for example, if there is a new version, that I will inform that. And we apply the clean function to be able to handle that notification and to activate the second part of the workflow, that it will be to update our infrastructure architect, also our infrastructure code, that will be the responsible to update all our services and to tell to the operator that is inside in the cluster that this is the new image, the new resources with the new versions that we have. Then I give it to you so you can do the job. And we also recently add a CI/CD for the integration test, so we can be sure that our images or services that we have in the version that we have are doing well. This integration tests are being doing like 8 in the night for the Mexican side, and we always told the developers what is happening right now. When there is a new package, when there is a news for the environment side, that there's a new image deployed, and when their integration tests are running well or they are failing. And the next one, please.
Nice. sorry, continuous integration, continuous development, not, sorry, continuous deployment, obviously, not development, sorry, continuous deployment.
So what are we are doing right now? So as we are passing to the pre-production staging of the things that we have to make a scalability plan for pre-production resources. Right now we in the phase 1, that it's seeing how the applications that we have in the pre-production are behaving when we are loading with a lot of requests for example, like 100 requests by second, right? So we can see how this is behaving and make the plan so we can have the scalability for the pre-production resources that we have. Also, we will have an external review for the pre-production environment, and we have to complete a list of security requirements that we need to complete. So when we having this review for the security stuff, we can know what we need to improve and what we still have left to implement. Also, alongside with this, we have the networking traffic and the data control. That's mostly about to control the traffic that is between the data that's inside of all of the services that is in the cluster to decide this service can only connect to this other service, and nobody can access to that space. They only can access to that. So that's one thing that we were working on it. And the final thing is that anything that the developers need, that it's like every day, like if they need something, then we do it.
Great, thank you, Mario. So as you saw, we sort of wanted to specialize on specific aspects, right, of what's currently going on, rather than giving the general picture of these elements of PCH in general. But I would like to ask Pedro to give the conclusions of these 4 elements and the state we're at PCH. If you can, please, Pedro, give the conclusions.
I can. Thank you, Roberto, and thank you guys for a very good presentation of your subjects. The wrapping up, and this is just a very generic wrap up or conclusions on this. We've been working on finishing the big feature sets. So most of the functionality that we need is either working or being finished, and this is an important aspect. So in terms of use cases, we are almost complete. We have been maturing our code, and in terms of quality and maintainability, of testing, of scalability, performance, and also security. So this is an important aspect that we've been doing for the past few months, making sure that what we have is production ready. One of those specific things is about the security. There's a security review or audit going on as we speak, which includes a penetration test in our pre-production environment. This is really important. We want to know how our systems look from the outside, and we want to be able to fix anything that we can fix, obviously. We have an intention of running a friends and family test as soon as possible with real money, hopefully. This is something that we need to get working very soon. And lastly, and I think Roberto probably is going to speak about that, we are undergoing the submission process with the Bank of Mexico. So I would say that that's the technical side. Roberto, over to you for the last technical aspect.
No. I think that summarized it well. I prefer that we leave some time for questions, if possible. And thank you all for your time. And hopefully, at another time, we can have the occasion to show it working, because all of this is, of course, this is ongoing. This is working right now, right? But of course, a demo requires more time. So thank you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That was super in-depth, a lot of detail. Yeah, acronyms are always good to define. And is a little note for everyone. Everyone falls into those traps. I see this is time for questions. We got about 7 minutes left on the call, so we have a little bit of time. I'll read Stephanie Perrin's question, and then anybody else can go ahead and open their mic after we address this one. Also, if I could get somebody from the PCH team to put a link to your slides in your part of your agenda. I think there's been some requests for people to be able to go and revisit those. So just put the, a note a link to the slides in your little agenda item so people can get that. But Stephanie asks, she has been looking for stats on the efficacy of KYC or AML practices. Hard to find. Are you aware of any work on this at the practical or academic level?
Well, let me answer very quickly. So the block lists, they correspond to different lists, right? And most of them will depend on the jurisdiction, but some of them are global, right? Like OFAC lists. And those, they can be downloaded from the OFAC website. You can connect to them using APIs also and receive updates. But normally what people do is they hire a list provider in their jurisdiction who for a fee will provide updates on the list, and you can connect to them through API, or they can send them to you in CSV or Excel. And secondly, stats on the efficacy of KYC or AML practices. I think that's very hard to determine precisely because jurisdictions tend to have very different rules. There are some mainstream rules based on that, once again, on OFAC principles and recommendations. But the rules are different. So how can you compare apples to I don't know, peaches, right? So that makes it hard to have a standard measurement. I don't know of any, in fact, a global one at least. I don't know one. Any other questions?
Do you know if OFAC is free to access and to use, or you pay a fee?
Some lists are free. If you want a provider, they cost. Yes.
We've seen also some providers of AML analysis. Some of them, one of them was over 1 second. Other of those was over 5 seconds. So it's kind of slow. What we have been doing, those 1,000 per second, for instance. Yes, so that's on our side.
Roberto Carlos, stop bragging, please.
It's just bragging a little bit.
So
no, keep bragging. It's a good thing.
So Stephanie meant more on how well the result is, right? Not how fast. But still, what you're saying is very important, and it was not mentioned in the presentation. So indeed, there are providers, which very important providers in Mexico, which will give you 10 transactions analyzed per second, maybe 12. We have around 1,000 per second right now with our current system. So that's thanks to the team, and it's a very powerful system what we have.
Stephanie's a good person to talk to about this, less so about although not divorced from the technical aspects, but she's doing a lot of sector research about these laws, where these laws are going, where they may be, some actors and entities are pushing them in certain directions. So she might be a good follow-up on some of the kind of legal frameworks and trends in these laws. So that is why she's following up on those pieces. Anybody? Well, we have 3 minutes left after that good exchange. Anyone want to open up their mic or their text machine and ask or say a final thing? Okay, go ahead, C.
Hi, team. Thank you. That was awesome. I just have a question. Maybe this will be for Adriana. Is the idea for the sort of unified look and feel of the front end, is the idea that the front end will be used by different operators, or will it be used by the actual customers of the banks, right? Whether it's community bank customers. I'm just keen to know who the front end is for.
Great.
Thank you.
Adriana, please prepare your answer. Anna, you have a question too. Please go for it.
Yeah, it was just a comment, actually. I just wanted to say I kind of went to Oaxaca when I was seeing the tech work week and how much work kind of went in. I just wanted to kind of say how brilliant those presentations were from all the developer team and how clear it was to follow for somebody who's not technical, and just appreciate you sharing. So thank you. And with the teaser, we'll make sure we make time for people to see that at a future date, so you can see some of the inspiration, how people got into working with technology as well. So yeah, just a comment and a thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Adriana, please, do you want to answer to
Yes.
Sally?
Yes, the admin UI is for the microbanks users and the operators of these microbanks. So, yes.
Thank you.
Tilly, can I compliment a bit on that?
Yes, thank you.
One of the things that we had was it's not just about the unification of the look and feel. That's obviously a big benefit, but because different people will use the different UIs, that is not immediately noticeable. So that's not the biggest problem. One of the biggest things that we wanted to solve was to make sure that the team is fungible, so that developers that are working on one part of the system can actually go to the other part of the system and being still efficient. So the objective was to make sure that we have a limited set of frameworks that we use in technology, and that we are all very efficient using those technologies.
Great.
Awesome. Thank you.
Stephanie?
Yes, thanks very much. This is so interesting. I saw from one of your early slides there that in the diagram that you're basically going to be parallel to the banks. And my question is really, do you anticipate some kind of additional regulatory burden landing on your shoulders once you achieve all of these things that you're busy working on? The further slides went into all the transactional work you're doing, but is there some kind of deposit insurance or fungibility standard you have to meet?
Okay, I can only answer in 10 seconds because we're already on time and Chris is going to kill us otherwise. So yeah. In one word, we are not like banks. We are only at the same level as banks with respect to the switch transfer system that the Bank of Mexico is using, SPAY, right? The payment system, sorry. So at that level, we are like banks. But we are not at all like banks because we are not an account servicing entity, right? We do not give accounts. We do not keep people's money. So the regulation is very, very different. Thanks to that, because I mean, that's very important, because otherwise it would be an extremely high burden, as you're saying. So yeah, too worried for that.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. We are ending right on time, which I do love. And this was a good call. So, you know, we went over a lot of things. The notes, PCH will put their slides in the notes doc so people can reference them and continue to enjoy and find them entertaining. And Vanille or myself, if you have ideas for future community calls, topics, things you want to raise, Vanille and I's door is always open to push these forward. So bye, everybody. Thank you. See you in a month. Look for the recording.
Bye.
Thanks to all presented.
Bye. Thank you.